All right. Up next was our main event segment of the night. That was technically our main event match, which means that Heath Slater won a main event on Raw. Let that marinate for a bit. But
Uh,
up next was our main event segment, which was our contract signing with Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella.
and once again, for me personally, and I'm going to hand the actual talking of this segment to you because I feel like I've done a lot of that tonight. But let me
Oh
just say very
gosh.
briefly that I have to commend both women again because I felt like they brought it home. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So, what did you think of it? Really getting into the thick of it.
I think that the WWE is in over their heads. I think that they spent so much time putting the hype wagon behind Brie Bella that they forgot that she doesn't even really have that much talent to begin with. Her promo tonight was the definition of cringeworthy. She even stooped as low as to call out names like Vicky Guerrero, The Big Show, and the Rhodes family, just to kind of name drop to try and earn herself some babyface credibility. The frickin' just went. Here's the thing. I'm supposed to be cheering for Brie Bella in this match, but by the time she was done talking, all I could say was, okay, now Stephanie, show her how to cut a promo. And she did.
Wow, pretty scathing review there. Uh, I didn't think it was that bad. I actually liked when she named Rob, ironically enough, because I think it was resetting the situation, showing everybody the train of abuses caused by Stephanie McMahon, showing her and pretty much telling the audience, all of her sins. It's kind of like anybody who feuds with Vince McMahon. I know Undertaker did the same thing when they had their feud back in like 2002, 2003. You're a scumbag. You've done all these things, to your family, to the people who work for you, but I'm going to make sure you rest
See, but
in
John, that's the
peace.
thing. He said to your family and the people that work for you, he didn't drop names. That's cheap heat. That's freaking Mick Foley right here in Austin, Texas, cheap crap.
So let me just frame this so everybody,
That's
including
like
myself, can
back when
understand.
CM Punk and Triple H were having their feud, and Punk said about how Triple H and Vince were obsessed with bodybuilders, and Triple H started name dropping guys like Mick Foley to try and get the cheap pop for himself, even though he was supposed to be a heel at the time.
Right, right. So for you, would it have been any better if Brie maybe said
No,
something along the lines of, okay, no. So she
before you
really,
even say that, no, because the name dropping was like 10% of why I hated her promo. The delivery, her robotic inability to make it look like she's doing anything but reciting lines from a script was disgust. Like, I'm not going to say disgusting. That's a little bit too far, a little over dramatic, but it was just awful.
all right, well, we do have a difference of opinion here. I thought she did fine. I didn't
Dude,
think it was
this
nearly that
segment,
bad.
all this segment made me do was wish that they had saved this program for AJ.
And you know what? That I will say, I felt like Stephanie and AJ should have had a program together. When Stephanie was giving AJ crap and AJ was just referring to her, well, hi boss lady, or thanks, like really, that condescending crap. I wanted to see those two have a program. So if we're talking about, separating this from that, and we're talking about AJ Stephanie, oh hell yeah, that's a program that certainly should have happened. This though, I personally I like Bree's work. Was it stellar? Was it CM Punk levels of magnificent? No, of course not. But I felt like for the purpose it was supposed to serve, I felt like Brie got the job done and she got the job done well. However, where you and I do agree, Stephanie deserves an Oscar for her performance, not just in the context of this feud, but as a heel authority figure in general. Her father should be so proud of her right now.
Dude, she ripped Brie a freaking new one when Brie finally finished her promo. Like, called her a scumbag, called her pathetic, said that she was selfish because she abandoned her husband and betrayed her sister. She dropped her own version of a pipe bomb tonight. And it honestly felt like a borderline worked shoot, too, because a lot of the stuff that she was saying was real beyond kayfabe.
Yeah, she said all you really are is a wannabe
The
reality star.
wannabe reality TV show star. That's hitting a little close to home, don't you think?
I have to really say, I'm just saying in the context of a performer, I don't really know her creative history or everything behind the scenes, what good decisions she's made, what bad decisions she's made. But as a performer, I have to say that I love Stephanie McMahon because when she was a babyface general manager, when I was really into the product, and then that was my fix. I loved her, and when her father started targeting her, I was rooting for her so bad. She got it. She knew how to be sympathetic. She knew how to be. I mean, I hate to use that term, but that damsel in distress. You know, when other people would come to her save and really fighting for her job. And as a heel, though, man, does she know how to bare those teeth and just get the job done. She is vicious.
And not only is she vicious on the mic, but her tactics are vicious as well, because once the two of them had signed their contracts, Stephanie smacked Nikki over the head with the contract book, had Triple H shove Brie into the corner with the table and then sit on the table, while Stephanie picked Nikki off the ground and delivered the most brutal Steph-agree I think I've ever seen.
I love it, dude. The Steph-agree. I'm going to remember that for when we do live reactions for this show. Yeah, it was amazing form. I even remarked to you that I thought her form was exceptional.
And you know what? When Brie finally got out from behind the table and Steph delivered another one to her, I think that one might have even been better. That might have even one-upped the first one.
Yeah, and not only that, what preceded it was excellent, because first of all, Brie slaps Triple H, which personally, I would have slapped maybe even a nut shot to ensure that he couldn't do anything else, but then Stephanie, right? When Brie tries to be a little courageous, like, alright, I'm gonna dive off this table and BAM! Like, just slams her face against the table. And if I was Stephanie, I would have been like, that's for the handprint you left on my face, bitch!
No, John, but you need to understand, from that point on, after she says it that first time, all it would ever be is just bit.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
It would just kind of fade into nothingness, because apparently that's how WWE does their censoring these days.
That's how they roll. But yeah, I thought that was excellent. Like, look, again, I thought Brie did fine, and this isn't me, like, rallying against Brie, but I have to give Stephanie her due. That face plant into the table was awesome. And then when she sets her up for the pedigree, and then she hits it, and then where the segment becomes slightly awkward turtle for me, she must have gotten such a rush from that. She grabs her husband and forcefully kisses him, which raises so many questions about the relationship for me that I'm going to put to bed for the sake of my own well-being.
Dude, they didn't even wait until they got to the hotel room to get started. They went at it on the way to the office.
I know, right? She reminded me so much of that moment in of the Family Guy episode where Lois becomes a klepto, and the first time she steals, she gets in the car, she puts the cigarette out in her own arm, and she's like, yeah, I feel so alive!
Yeah. Pretty much.
That same vibe from Stephanie, and I love it.
That's a great equivalent, dude.
Dude, that's immediately what I thought of, though, when Stephanie did it, because she even mentioned, like...
See, and what I thought of was season 2 of The Walking Dead, when Shane and Andrea went to that random community area that had been abandoned for months, and they got attacked by zombies, and they ended up shooting them, and Andrea got to kill her first zombie with a headshot with a gun. And on the way back to the farm, she just grabs his freaking package and, like, gets into it, and then they make out. And, like, to me, that's what this was. Like, Stephanie had just shot her first ever zombie in the head. That, of course, being the Bella twins with the Steph-agrees. And they were on their way home, and she just grabbed him by the collar. But in this case, because it is PG, she just aggressively made out with him. But don't say that, because you're not allowed to call it making out on WWE television. Just ask Michael Cole.
Oh, I remember that, too. That's also a great equivalent, though, in my mind, because I guess for Steph, that was just such a rush, such a moment of liberation. She had to celebrate with the nearest person, and luckily for him, and you know what, like, we seem like we're making fun, and indeed we are, but that's not even an ionism, because to me, Stephanie looks fantastic, even after all these. Like, she hasn't changed one bit to me from early 2000s. If anything, she's only gotten better. So, you know,
whenever it was that she was SmackDown GM, like, that was when she hit her peak, and then she just plateaued, and she has not changed since then.
Yeah, really. It's like, this is my final form. Get used to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you know what, really... This, again, may seem like satire, parody, whatever, but we're really just trying to laud praise on Stephanie here, because as much as I am enjoying Brie, Stephanie is carrying this thing. She's been carrying this thing, even as far as Daniel Bryan. As much as I love Daniel Bryan as, like, the babyface guy, and he got such great reactions with the crowd, I mean, he's not the best talker, and I felt like the vile actions and the vile words of the Authority, that really generated the heat and everything else necessary for the feud to really be successful. That and just Bryan's just so darn likable. But Stephanie's done stellar work here. She should be commended for it. Again, her father should be very proud of her. I do expect her to win at SummerSlam. I think you and I are in full agreement on that. If she eats her comeuppance, though, she'll do that just as well. Like when she, let Vicky Guerrero get that last
Honestly,
bit of comeuppance
dude, this is
left.
really screwed up, but after this segment, I might even be cheering for Stephanie to win.
You know what? I wouldn't even blame you because, look, we're at that point, dude, where for us it's about who really is doing better overall. Who do we think the better
It comes down to who's more entertaining.
Who's more entertaining. And yeah, we're not really sold on the babyface versus heel narrative anymore.
We try to be.
We try to be. And
we
in
really
some cases
do.
And in some cases I think it works. Like the last time I really felt invested in a heel babyface narrative was Punk Jericho, to be honest.
What about Bryan versus the Authority?
Or Bryan, yeah, I mean Bryan versus the Authority, but like I'm talking like really wanting that guy right there to the heel.
I wanted that for Bryan against Triple H.
I think more so Stephanie, though, because that was another thing. Like, we just wanted somebody to get their hands on Stephanie, and it's a shame it wasn't AJ. I mean, Brie, I think, is going to work, and it's going to work well, but, man, AJ versus Stephanie could have been a
Brie versus Stephanie is going to work because of Stephanie. AJ versus Stephanie would have worked because of both of them.
See what you got me wanting now? It's like if we got on this call and be like, hey, John, I just came back from insert food place here, and then you make me more of that, but, well, you just did pretty much the same thing. You're like, oh, we could have gotten AJ Stephanie, and then just spent all this time thinking about it. You're the worst. So thanks for
It would have been, and dude, that would have saved AJ from this stupid angle with Paige. I would so much rather have AJ versus Stephanie and Paige versus Brie Bella than what we're getting right now.
It's a shame that you're saying that, because I feel like AJ and Paige also had the potential to be brilliant, but I'm not even arguing with you on that point. I just don't really like what they're doing with Paige right now. I just think it's all wrong. But yeah, this was...
And I mean, if we really want to dip into the world of fantasy, we could have Paige versus Emma. You're welcome. That was entirely intended just to make you yearn for something that you'll never get.
You know what? It's like you saw me like convulsing on the floor after AJ and Stephanie. Like, well, you got one bullet left. I think I'm gonna end his suffering. Paige versus Emma. Well, that's done.
Yep.
And then you just burn the carcass with, oh yeah, and Morrison's returning and winning a world title. Just end the job, Ashton. Just end the freaking job, you jerk. Anyway, this was a brilliant
and Chris
segment.
Benoit was just proven innocent.
Oh, you bastard! I can't even help but laugh, though, because I didn't even expect that. Oh my god. Oh, man. So thank goodness you and I believe what we believe, because I feel like we're both going to burn in a very special place if it's proven true. Anyway, that said, this was a great segment. You and I both enjoyed it thoroughly. With that said, unless you have anything else to say, we can get into our next segment.